Guy Saint-Jacques is a former Canadian ambassador to China. He's in Montreal. Hi, Mr. Saint-Jacques.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Is there anything that you saw after the meeting that would give you an indication that China's position has shifted even in the least?
Well, not very much, unfortunately, because, of course, according to the readout published by the Chinese side, they insisted on the fact that we should avoid returning to the Cold War. They continue to blame the US and NATO for what's happening. They say that to resolve the issue, it would be important that NATO and the United States speak with Russia. But apart from that, also I think it's one of the first time where they talk about the damage that the sanctions are doing to global trade flows. And they say that sanctions punish the people, and therefore they should not be used. They have also alluded to the fact that they will provide humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. But overall, not a lot of movement there.
And continues to describe what's going on as a crisis in Ukraine, but not using the word war, not using the word invasion, which is something the White House and Secretary of State Blinken had sort of channeled out earlier yesterday that they would have liked to see. Clearly, we didn't see that.
No, but on the other hand, they have started to show pictures of what's happening in Ukraine on Chinese television. So at least in that regard, maybe they are a bit more open. And I think in all of this, China is faced with a dilemma, and it's the usual thing of how to save face, because, of course, on February 4th, both China and Russia promised to befriend and have this strategic cooperation comes hell or high water. But now the Chinese understand much better what they got into. And with all the propaganda in China going in support of Russia, it's a bit difficult now to backpedal. And I think they would like a solution to be found. They would like Putin also to find some face-saving device. But I'm sure that President Biden impressed on President Xi Jinping that, in fact, they stand to lose a lot, and that if they ever want to provide arms and ammunitions to Russia, then they will have crossed a line, and they will suffer consequences.
Yeah, I wanted to get your take on that line specifically because there's a report from Politico saying that the EU has evidence to basically support that theory, or that concern, really, that they would be actually supplying the military in Russia. How big of a deal is that? Do you think China would go down that path?
Well, it's possible. And of course, again, if you profess that you have a strategic partnership and that you will be supporting each other, I think their starting point for both Russia and China is the fact that they feel that the United States want to contain them, and they see the U.S. as the enemy. But I think that China now knows much better that they have to be careful. And I think I would not be surprised that if shipments have already taken place, because there were reports early on after the invasion that, in fact, planes were being loaded at the Beijing airport. But now they have to understand also that their economic relationship with Europe and with the United States is much more important than with Russia. Of course, they need to get wheat, barley, corn, and especially oil and gas from Russia. But they have to be very careful not to threaten the rest of their relationship. And in fact, today, when Xi Jinping raised his concerns about the impact the war is having on the global economy, well, if they were to provide ammunition and armaments to Russia, that would be a way to prolong the war, which goes against what Xi Jinping. So I hope that they are now starting to understand that it's in their interest not to do anything that would help Russia, which would result in a longer war, and at the same time, something that could threaten their economic relations with the EU and the United States.
And just finally on that point, though, do you think if they were to head down that very troubling line, do you think the reaction from Canada, the U.S., and its allies, the West, would be as united as it has been against Russia?
That's a good question, and because the truth is that for most of our countries, the economic exchanges with Russia are more limited. For most countries now, China is their number one or their number two trade partner. But of course, China took note of the very strong reaction of Western countries to the invasion of Ukraine. They have seen unprecedented solidarity, and they know that, in fact, this could apply to them. And so I think they will be very careful about all of this. And we know that there is a debate going on in Beijing about what would be the best outcome. So I think I hope that Western leaders will continue to ask China to intervene with Putin, and a possible solution would be to say that Ukraine will become a neutral state, and this maybe could lead to some kind of face saving for Putin.
Okay, Mr. Saint-Jacques, thank you very much.
Thank you.